what's up guys? It's the Movie Maniac here. Today with Dreamworks-A-Thon, let's continue up. So after this big hit success of Ants, DreamWorks has again another did a big hit success, but not really that much of my favorite movies. But it's one of those movies that's really awesome. And what is that movie? It's Prince of Egypt. Now, Prince of Egypt, I love this movie a lot. I mean, really, there are so much things I like about this movie. It's like Ants, but except Ants was a lot better than this. But So, what's the plot here? So, the plot is just basically the Exodus story or the Moses story. So, Moses was a kid was Israel that was sent and grew up with the Egyptians, and then grows up, and then starts to learn and realize he's one of the Israelites and of the slaves. So then later he accidentally commits crime, and then later runs away from his old home, and then starts learning new way of life. And he comes up to God, and God tells him to free his people from Egypt. And he goes out there and tries to commit to the Pharaoh to free his people. Yeah. That's what I call That's what I call an awesome Old Testament. And that right there is Prince of Egypt. Now, basically, I love this movie. I mean, there are lots of good things. One thing, the voice acting. Just like Ants, the voice actings are really great. They got a lot of memorable casts. Like Val Kilmer. Well, maybe he's not like really the most awesomest Moses ever. I mean, not like awesome as Charles. What's his name? Charles Henderson? Yeah, I'm guessing so. I don't know, but he's fine. He's a good actor. I mean, heck, he's Batman, and when he's like the college boy Moses, he's pretty interesting. But then I like his dramatic. I like how he's an adult and how dramatic he is with him and God and stuff, and the relationship between him and his brother. And Ralph Fiennes as the villain Ramesses, also known as Moses' brother, was really good too. I mean, heck, he was probably like one of my favorite parts of the whole movie. I mean, he's chilling and everything. That's what makes him so great about him. And I liked him around his college. I don't know why I call it college years. But then later when he grows up, he starts being more ignorant and all powerful in the villain. I loved it. And then there were lots more. There was also Michelle Pfeiffer. She was really good. There was also who else? There was also Jeff Goldblum. He was really good too. And what do I think of Sandra Bullock? Well, I thought she was alright. I'm not really a big fan of her character. I'm just really not a fan of her or something. I mean, I like the voice acting, but I don't like the way how the character looks. I don't know. She just looks weird, messed up. I don't know. But and there was also who else? And there's also Martin Short and Steve Martin. And I gotta admit, with Steve Martin with his roles, I really well, actually, I gotta tell you the truth. I was like, wait, who's this guy? And then when I look at the credits and it says Steve Martin, I was like, Steve Martin? Pfft, doesn't sound like him. But it's just like Ants. Like Dan Aykroyd, I couldn't even tell if that's really... Ooh. You know what? I just forgot to talk about Dan Aykroyd and Ants. What do I think of Dan Aykroyd and Ants? He's awesome too. Yeah, there you go. But here's the thing about Dan Aykroyd, but his voice sounds way completely different. I couldn't even tell if it's really him or it's someone else voice acting. And that's the thing with Steve Martin in this one. He doesn't sound like him. I mean, it's interesting. Martin Short is, well, Martin Short. There's also Helen Mirren, Helen Mirren, and geez, she would never stop doing this Queen stuff, wouldn't she? And then there's also Patrick Stewart, which that was really interesting. I gotta admit, he's like Danny Glover and Ants. He's probably my favorite characters in the whole movie. Although he had a very short part, but it's really good. But he's really good. Oh, not to mention Danny Glover. well, he's not like really totally memorable and like awesome as he was in Ants, but he was pretty good. So yeah, the cast is really good. And what do I think of the animation? The animation is stunning, brilliant, amazing what they got here. I mean, you know, they got like two really good 2D, but with 3D combined together. I love that kind of stuff. It was before when CG became crappy today, except for Wreck-It Ralph. But you know what? But you know what? I liked it. I like that stuff. Like the scene where Moses and what's his name, Ramesses, we're doing like a horse race, and then like the statue of the pharaoh's nose breaks. That was really cool, and it was CG, and I really loved it. What else I liked? Well, I also liked how dark it was. It was probably one of those movies that's kind of like Hunchback of Notre Dame, the Disney one. How dark it is. That's what Princess Egypt was kind of like, except Hunchback was more darker. But you know, I really liked that too. I mean, as a kid when I saw this, I didn't really care about that stuff. But yeah, what else I like? Yeah. I mean, what else? Oh, the songs. What do I think of the songs? The songs were great too. I mean, the most memorable one has to be The Plagues. The Plagues sounds like epicness. So awesome. I mean, I know most people say like When You Believe is the best. I mean, that was one that won an Academy Award for best song. But I'm just like, that song's good. I mean, just good. I like it, but it doesn't mean like it's the best. But the best way to sing When You Believe is when you put Whitney Houston in it. I love Whitney Houston's song When You Believe. I mean, even when her death came in, when I heard about her death, I was like, who? But I didn't know her, but not until when I listened to that song, I was like, dang, she's really great. Rest in peace, Whitney Houston. Wait, let me do that thing that Candace does in Hunger Games. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, the songs are pretty good, but mostly the plagues. The plagues is the best part of the whole movie. So, is there anything else I'd like to say about the movie? Well, I guess that's it. That's all I have to say about the movie. So, yeah. Overall, Prince of Egypt is really good, but it's not one of those greatest, it's not one of those, like my favorite, it's not one of those movies that's, like, in my favorite top 10 list, like Ants did. But it's really that good. But why was it really not that good? Well, probably because Sandra Bullock wasn't really that good, and some of the songs were kind of okay, but most of them were. And there were a few certain songs that were okay. But you know, everything was awesome. So yeah. Okay, so if you're one of those, so is this movie like really awesome? Yes, it is. Is it one of those movies that you should see as a family? Yes. If you're like a religious family or even non-religious will enjoy this too. And yeah, and all that stuff. And yeah, it's worth seeing. Go check it out. Well, I'm going to give this movie a rating. I would give this movie a rating an A+. Very good movie. Very, very good movie. And seriously, I gotta admit, just like Ants, it wasn't really that popular. I mean, it was popular when it came out, but it didn't not like a few years later. It just totally became forgettable. But then I'm just thinking, I was looking at Amazon and there was no Blu-ray release for it yet. I'm just like, okay, come on, get your DVD sales and Blu-rays release this up. They need to see this movie. It's really that good to see it. So yeah, Prince of Egypt was a really cool movie. I say check this movie out. Oh, if you're wanting me to compare the 10 Commandments and the Prince of Egypt, I haven't really seen much of the 10 Commandments, but I do gotta admit, since it's a pretty long movie, I say go check out Prince of Egypt more, because it's shorter. That's one thing. Instead of 2 hours long, that'll be so terribly long. So yeah, my ultimate question today is, do you like Prince of Egypt? Is it really that good? Yeah, I couldn't think of another question that would go with this movie, but yeah. So check out my other videos over there. They're really cool. Like and subscribe and answer my ultimate question. And we'll see you next time with El Dorado.